because we did a lot of tiny houses. We actually built a tiny house, and a tiny house that was come in during the day, leave at night, and not in the evening will become a park for the neighborhood. So the homeless is nothing like, so it was more kind of like a collaborative space between the homeless and the community as a multi-purpose space. So, that I was just killing time.
Good afternoon, my name is Presley Burrows. I am an on-again, off-again student at LA Trade Tech for the last 40 years. Currently a soon-to-be retired planner for the State Department of Transportation, Caltrans. And I'm going to build a factory in South Central Los Angeles. I didn't say South Los Angeles, South Central Los Angeles, that converts surplus containers into multifamily housing. I want to come at it, I'm going to come at it from the hardware end of the business. I am tired of 10% of college students in California being homeless, living out of their cars. I have 35 years of infrastructure experience that cannot kick out of here without putting a dent in the problem. Thank you.
Wow. And all of you guys here, you guys all wrote down their name here?
I haven't yet.
Okay. So please come in, please.
Wait. Yes.
Hey, come on, friend.
All right.
Hey, hi everybody.
Hello.
Just to say hello, my name is Samuel Price for those of you that don't know me.
I don't remember.
Or don't remember, right. And so I'm just pleased to be here. It's such a beautiful group, and I've been a member of it for a number of years. 5. And I've been gone for a while, so I'm 4. Happy to be back. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to sign in. What I want to say about us is that we're the founders of the Black Caucus for the California Community College System. We started it probably about 19 years ago. And so we represent about 2.3 of the million students here in the California college system. There are 114 community colleges in the state of California. We represent all of them to the Board of Governors, to the Chancellor's office, and to the Governor himself. So we're interested in collaborating with anyone who's interested in helping our community and helping students. All right, thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy that you're here. All right, so we can go, please.
My name is Remus Mohammed, and the human rights piece is what I'm here representing today. Youth for Human Rights, United for Human Rights. It's a shame that we're not taught that we have human rights since 1948. Eleanor Roosevelt, United Nations. There's 30 human rights that were decided that as people on this planet we have. No matter where you go, they're inalienable, can't be taken from you. When you're born, they're with you. When you're not here any longer, all the way to that point, they're your human rights. The youth don't know about it, so I'm excited about it because the platform lays a foundation. I'm looking in the inner cities, and the black struggle somehow has got separated from the human struggle. Civil rights is turning, it's some neighborhoods it's a black thing. It's a big problem to me. So the youth need to know that there's human rights. Wherever they go from now on, they need to understand that. And I know just that alone will do a lot to bridge a lot of these gaps that exist. Just the fact, again, focusing on the inner cities, work with the United Hood Nation, the Peace Rides movement, some of you all know about that. A lot going on now, so that there's a whole new civilization being created. Hemp is back now, after being on a hiatus for a little while, and but never to go in hiding again, because again, the value of it is too powerful. I'm thinking about Coachella right now. I have my man here with those because they have a big event every so often, once a year, and housing is a big issue for the security guards that go out there and have to secure that event, because there's not enough people that live in that neighborhood to secure that event. So they bring people from the inner cities, and it usually is a big problem. You might see it on YouTube and stuff, but the bottom line is a lot of solutions are here, hemp-based or cargo-based or based in just a willingness to want to make it happen. And that's what's coalescing now. That's what's coming together all over the planet. So I love the Encounter group and excited. But so there's a big petition drive coming up you'll hear about next month. And maybe I'll speak in a couple months here about a big petition drive throughout the city of LA. Every politician, needs to agree that there are human rights on every level.
And I want you to remember that we work on these with bragged for a long time, and this is a taxonomy about human rights. So what we're saying is that each community, this is the bare minimum, everybody, a way to participate, collaborate, communicate, and we need to have places where people can actually do it. They get paid, they get credit, and that's why this is a catalyst for the human rights. So
Yes, we want to.
I'll leave it right here. These are some of the taxonomies that I was telling you about, and you can see that everything we do at the encounter fits into one of these categories because it's nature, right? It's the human body, right? And the human mind. So for the human body, we all have the right to be sheltered, our body. We all have the right to feel safe.
Yes. We have the right to not have only pharmaceutical drugs in our bodies.
We need
And,
help.
You know, and so I do have some very hemp products, CBD, organic products, hemp extracts, so that are available.
Please come to the Hemp Alliance. You
I
will
will.
be so excited.
I'm excited.
So
Thursdays,
it's the
I'll be
first
here.
Thursday at 1.
1 o'clock.
All right,
So anyway,
John,
yeah.
thank you so much.
I don't know if I need to stand up. I guess you can see me from here.
Yes.
John Bollinger. Most immediately, I'm a professor at Cal State Long Beach School of Engineering. And one of my passions, I've been involved with the Encounter now for at least 5 or 6 years. I make great connections here. What I'm clearly aware of in listening to all of you is that we are all connected with the world, and literally when we talk about sustainability, I keep in mind the 17 goals for sustainability. There are global goals. We are literally connected with the rest of the world, and what we do locally can make a difference globally, and there is a need to make a difference, to accelerate making a difference in this regard. Homelessness is kind of the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, of the problem, but there are many, many problems, energy, food, water, that will affect not only the homeless, but affect everybody, affect humanity. And so I keep my eyes and ears open to what you all say, and I've met people and made contacts that are nothing short of amazing. Wayne isn't here, and I've been involved with Wayne in the aspect of recycling materials that was brought up here. And my latest venture, which is kind of interesting, is involved with, and I've heard people talking about energy and water here, is with a technology, an innovative technology that produces energy and clean water at the same time using seawater or brine water. Now, if you want to think about the abundance of materials on this earth, we're almost out of fossil fuels. We are becoming more dependent on solar energy and wind energy and those kinds of energy. There is another form of energy, and this form of energy can be produced from seawater and from water that is in the aquifers throughout the world, called brine water. And once we tap into that technology, many of the issues that we have with regard to water and energy, at least for the time being, maybe for the next 1,000 years, will go away. And I'm actually working on a technology that may be able to do that with a breakthrough. I'm working on some research with Cal State Long Beach School of Engineering and mechanical and electrical engineering in doing a proof of concept, they call it, proof of concept on this new technology. I can't talk about the details, but if you can provide this technology, you can provide free energy and water to the homeless. When you talk about creating a home for the homeless, imagine being able to provide energy and water, and ultimately other things that come along with being able to have abundant energy. That is a paradigm shift, if I can put it that way. One of the things I'm doing.
Okay, John, 2 minutes.
One of the things I'm doing next week is I'm going to be volunteering stations and so forth. There will be people. There will be large companies and investors and large public corporations involved with billions of dollars of investments, many of which are right here in Los Angeles in the future. So I'm trying to stay in the stream of things. And I keep coming back here because I want you also to be in the stream of things. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. You know what, when you're part of the encounter, remember we're part of a very holistic solution. And thanks to John brings very important parts of that holistic solution. Thank you, John. Joyce?
I'm Joyce Germain Watts. I'm a resident of Laverne Park. I'm a career educator from elementary through grad school. In fact, one of my students, as you know, is involved in developing Youth for Human Rights, the website that we just heard about. I mean, the program that we just heard about. And I actually, in the 2 minutes, Marcel already mentioned to you that in terms of one of the themes that we talked about as far as services to people who are homeless, we have been one of the clients of Marcella's students, the Lamert Park Village Friendship Order stakeholders. And the designs the students created are extraordinary, so we're still looking for ways to move those designs from the images that are amazing to the actual projects that begin to transform parks and open spaces in our area. There's so many things I could say. I know I have about 20 seconds remaining. I figured that what I want to mention connecting to the Panther movie that we heard about that features some of my friends and one of my exes. I'm gonna have two. But I'm saying that to say the theme that I think connects what we need to be looking at in Lamert Park, which is not only what's going on right now, which of course is ravenous gentrification. But I want to connect our young people to the students here, to the young people who created the movement. And I'm going to use just one quick theme called unlocking genius. And so that's what happens here.
Yeah.
That's what happened with the movement. This was the gang. These were the gang members. A few people had, college education, but for the most part, these were young people who saw each other as the enemy until they became, I was not a fan, but until my generation became conscious and emerged to be the powerful force that we see, and understanding that this horizontal violence is absurd, and we need to really be looking at structural, institutional, and systemic racism and other forms of oppression, and being people who liberate ourselves. So the third thing I just want to, I'm saying, the Panther experience, the whole movement, SNCC, Panther Party, other aspects of the movement, the students here, and I want to share one other thing with you. How many of you have ever taken a standardized test? SAT, or the test you take at the end of school, at the end of every semester. I want to show you really quickly if my computer will behave, unlocking genius, and we have an issue with education. So we're trying to take all of this model of encounter, of thinking outside the box, of truth and how truth is transformative, because that's really what the movement was about, not what's in our textbooks, still not in the textbooks. If I can get this to behave itself. Let's try this. Touch screen, I think the touch screen is playing games. Let's see.
There you go.
Okay, so you're going to see, just really quickly, you don't need to be able to read anything. I think it's going to be pretty self-evident.
Why don't you leave that at the end, email it to me, and then I can show it on the big screen.
It's one slide.
Okay.
It's one
Are you
slide.
sure you don't want to put it there?
It's okay.
And, not or.
Sure.
We'd love to see it.
And.
Okay, you see some little gray bars. Can you see the little gray bars?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we pay the state of California to determine what the academic goals should be for students. These are academic goals for African American students in 6 high schools that are in a variety of places, from Fresno to.
We can see it, Marcel. You can turn it back on.
Yeah, we need the lights back on.
Yeah, I think it's okay. From Fresno to the Valley
Yeah,
to
going to.
Dorsey, which is in the Crenshaw area, etc. This is what unlocking genius looks like. And this is standardized tests. Okay, so do you see these yellow bars?
Yes.
Okay. Now here's what I want to say about the yellow bars. Now we pay the state of California, they project the little gray bars. This is what your students are capable of, and if they achieve these little goals, then you should get a gold medal. Okay? The yellow bars are the result of standardized tests now. So it's not like the teacher said, oh, I'm going to okay. Standardized tests. That's the result of literally less than 2 hours of truth.
Wow.
Performance on standardized tests by the state of California. There's no hanky-panky. How many of you saw Stand and Deliver? You know, that's about Jaime Escalante, and you know, they came out to see why, you know, how could those students have possibly, those students who live in poverty, many of whom were immigrants, you know, how could they possibly score on the SAT in calculus, right? Advanced placement calculus. How could they all pass the advanced placement calculus? You cheated. Same thing with African American students. Something must be going on. But this wasn't a semester's worth. This is literally about an hour and 50 minutes worth of truth.
Wow. Yep.
That's it. Just truth. I mean, they knew it all along,
So
but
you
they're
need to
convinced.
present
And so
next
it's
time.
unlocking genius that's going on here. It's unlocking genius that happened back then. It's unlocking genius that is completely possible. And so what we would like in Lamert Park is for our young people to understand what the homeless situation is about, for them to be involved in helping to implement the designs and the ideas that occur, that come out of what Marcella's students have done. And the teachers have to break free of the constraints of the textbook that tell them that they can't think, so follow the manual, etc. So this, we're hoping to have our encounter satellite in Lamert Park, hopefully sometime within this next year.
Let's try, Joyce, let's try to organize an exhibit. I think we should print all the proposals and maybe at Lamert Park have one Sunday where we show it to the community at large. Because at least that will generate momentum, because you should see, we have a veteran. He's about, I forgot, what's his name?
Dale?
Dale created one of the most beautiful proposals that the people like. So let's create an exhibit. Maybe Pando can help us.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Maybe
We'll do
Pando
that.
can help us.
So that
Because
connecting-
it's so beautiful, and I think nobody has. I think there's sometimes my problem here. We create all this effort, and then it goes on the shelf.
No.
So I think we need to kind of what Marvis did with the ADU houses. I have like another. Truly here, I do have geniuses as students.
Yes, right, and it takes certain kind, so we need the teachers to understand, how do you unlock genius? It's not, well, it's
I'm
not a
always-
mystery.
Yeah. How much star has shown? Thank you so much. So we have, yes, just introduce literally 2 minutes.
My name is Giovanni Castillo.
Thank you.
I'm a computer
Your theater voice, your auditorium voice.
Louder?
Can you be
Please.
a little louder,
Yes, please.
From the diamond.
My name is Giovanni Castillo. I'm a computer science major. I've been learning how to program since I was in 7th grade. I was just telling another guy right here that when I was growing up and going to school, I was introduced to computers, and everything else I put aside, and I wasn't getting the best GPA. And now that I'm in college, I've already completed my certification and got mostly straight A's, and it just amazes me of the possibilities, or even what she was saying about the standardized testing, where it doesn't really prove the potential of a student. And it just amazes me that if you want to learn something, trade schools like this offer that opportunity. And this club and this meeting is perfect.
Beautiful. I'm sorry, this is a lot of respect. I love Marvis.
My name is Justin Robinson. I am an FAA certified manned aircraft as well as remote aircraft pilot. Those are just drones. And so we use the new technology that's available to us in construction and other various industries to kind of push technology and society forward, one discovery at a time, so to speak, because we're still in a early phase where we're still trying to figure out everything that drones can do, but just being able to see every aspect of life from above, as opposed to, it's almost like flying a plane as opposed to driving a car. You can see everything, and so I'm just trying to help push that forward.
So you're certified in all 50 states?
Yes, all 50 states in the U.S. owned territory. You want, got anything you want? Puerto Rico, Guam, Fiji, talk to
In Virgin Islands?
Virgin Islands as well. We're here. We can do
Thank you
anything.
so much.
So, thank you.
Oh, yes, sir. You're in the middle.
Oh, hi. I'm new, actually. I know a few people here, these two and Ken over here. I'm a lifestyle and editorial photographer, going on 50, but this is a career change for me, which is important because as photography and imagery moves forward, technology is playing a big role in that. And so it's important for me to be able to be at the forefront versus, sort of an old school approach to photography. And I think this school and other trainings like this, it's amazing because we're in the gig economy. And I'm so excited that I was able to like reinvent myself in a matter of a year or so and have clients on both coasts and literally using technology to not only reach my customers, but do all the transactions, selling, and everything. So I'm just here to learn and find out what the group's about.
Website?
Milesmaker.com, milesmaker.com.
Oh, I'm sorry,
JRaeronautics.com.
Hi everyone.
Stand up.
I'm sorry?
Stand up.
My name is Candy. I'm the owner of Productive Candy Entertainment, and we are a digital media startup. But I also work in real estate, and that's how I get to live and eat until the company takes off. So thank you so much. I love coming here, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, Greg, thinking right.
Oh, okay, thinking right. I'm Gregory Wright, and I've been a member of the Encounter Group for a number of years. My association with Marcella and the architecture studio goes back to 2010. We've been working on and off on a project to create super shade structures as a way of lowering the cooling load in buildings, in groups of buildings, in large buildings. And so I'm really excited about the project that Pando Populous is talking about with the cargo containers. If we can build modular, scalable shade structures, and if we can do that with the design for this project, we've got something that will go way beyond this project in terms of helping a number of places become more livable and sustainable and creating their own energy at the same time. Super shade structures can protect people from the elements, from the heat, from even radiation, now that we're worried about nuclear war again, from allergies, because allergies are getting worse with climate change. They can condense water and sequester carbon on their surfaces. They can generate photovoltaic electricity, perhaps with flexible PV film applied to them. Last year in the Architizer Shade competition, Architizer is a architectural journal, kind of spelled the way it sounds. We entered a rough design, sort of a wire frame, with one of the architecture students for a large shade structure that would have covered most of the trade tech campus. And the archetype, the designs that came out of that competition might be something worth looking at for inspiration as we move forward. Here's a data point. On the PBS NewsHour a few weeks ago, there was an item about something called Meow Wolf. Maybe some of you have heard of it. This was my first acquaintance with it. And it's an artists collective in Albuquerque, New Mexico that's created sort of a combination mega fun house and arts gallery and one-of-a-kind creative venue that they charge admission to, and people just come in and have a good time interacting with color, light, sculpture, miscellaneous elements of all kinds, and it's turned out to be an economic generator. So successful that it's being emulated in a few other cities. So Google Meow Wolf, and if you add PBS NewsHour to the search, you'll get the video about it that was presented on PBS. This could be a model for LA. Meow Wolf has not come to LA yet. They came up with that name by picking out two pieces of paper out of a hat with a bunch of random words on it. So it means nothing. So just remember Meow Wolf. Okay. Speaking quickly about transit, I'm also a member of the Slate Z activity out of Trade Tech. That stands for South Los Angeles Transit Empowerment Zone. I have not been a very regular member, but I do interact with them by email to a certain extent. Like, here's a couple of transit ideas. One, I've got a copy of the tap card vendor list, and I looked down it, and none of the community colleges, the Los Angeles Community College District community colleges, are vendor locations. Now, Cal State LA and Cal State Northridge are, and so is Pasadena City College. But all of the community colleges should be places where you can put value on your tap card or get a tap card. In that regard, I ran out of money on my tap card a few days ago, and I didn't have any money in my pocket either. And so that gave me an idea. Why not, if we want to encourage people to use transit, the tap card should have a debit feature, letting the people who have a tap card go either $1.25 over into debt on it, maybe, or twice that, maybe up to $5, which is 4 standard tap rides, so that somebody who suddenly doesn't have enough money, you tap your card and it's not insufficient funds. If you're trying to get to work, this is something, having that debit feature would be really helpful. And so I'm going to push that with LATTC. Here's the last idea, one more 30-second idea, something I proposed to Councilman Marquise Harris Dawson back when he was running a couple of years ago. He didn't go for the idea, but the more I think about it, the more I think there's something to it. We have food deserts. Why not have food desert food buses for carless people who live in the food deserts, especially carless seniors? Once a week, different routes are followed by subscription. A given person could get on the bus. They've got ramps for carts. Somebody could do all of their grocery shopping at a really good market that's some distance out of the food desert. I suggest Trader Joe's because they're both cheap and good at the same time. And I think this is something worth raising, and I'll try to raise it with LATTC if I can get to one of their meetings. I encourage everybody who's interested in transit and South LA to join LATTC, or at least get on their e-list. Just Google Slate, SLATE -Z.
Or go to slatez.org.
Right. Yeah, do it directly.
Thank you, Greg.
You're on TV.
Oh, God. Hi, I'm Christina Coolidge, and I'm Greg's wife. I'm proud to be. And we work together. I was a librarian and a union person. And right now, as he said, we're working on tap cards and public transportation. And my own personal interest is what I call feeder leaders. That somehow the political process is enhanced by future leaders.
Participating in it.
Participating in it, yeah.
By voting.
Great.
But the nice thing, I brought a bunch of voter registration forms, since I forgot to, so next time.
Thank you. How do you guys do each other? You guys have to vote for
I'll do last, and we gotta get Bobby the buck.
Okay. Kenneth Wyrick, and I mean, after hearing who am I? I am open source software information communication technologist, and I've been researching cyber infrastructures lately, and looking at, I'm actually a communication specialist. I mean, that's what from music, and it all ties back to music. And today, I got a call yesterday, and I went out to Horace Mann, and I have 4 trumpet students, 2 African American and 2 black at Horace Mann Middle School, and I gave them a lesson today, and I'm gonna be back there tomorrow. Their music teacher left. And so, but the lady that's holding it together, Mrs. Payne, and so when she just called me out of the blue yesterday, I hadn't talked to her this year, I don't think, but, so anyway, that's exciting. A lot is happening, and my big thing is back to this education piece too. That, the scores, I mean, it's a horrible, and the district has no real plan for it. They just keep sweeping it under, and they don't throw money at it. They basically, so I was told today, Yolanda Beckles and I have been forming to do a regional technology support around STEM and STEAM, and then streams of learning, adding the R, S-T-R-E-A-M-S, and put an S on the end as well. So the research, the R for research, development, and then you have to have big data nowadays, planning and ERP, the enterprise. We're really, I mean, that is like the fundamental around your project management, around the scalability of your businesses. And so what's been happening to me, I've been forgetting a few things because there's so many, so the complexity. So I'm working on capacity. How do I, so it's this constant improvement, but it needs to be, like you say, with the teachers, but we're building up through the parents. The parents, that's the solid, because how can parents be engaged in the educational process? How can the students and the family structure with their parents be intact? Most people send their kids to be, educated. Now it's called learning. It's not called education anymore, it's called learning, and we all learn, we model it, and that's how, and what it comes down to is, what do we have to share? I know what we hear what I need to pay you for, but what do you have to share that we can then put into the taxonomies and make relations and overlays of the same information, so it's a reference and not this duplication of services, duplication of stuff. So, because in the end, the system needs some of all of the parts of the system, otherwise it doesn't work. You can sometimes have a module that stand alone, but it's just a standalone. And in the programming, that's called widgets. A programmer will make you a widget anytime. I deal with off-the-shelf, scalable, functioning systems, and they're automatically learning because it's all set up to learn. Yeah. So anyway, right, that's my new, and I'm putting just videos on the front page, and I'm changing them, and I'm adding them. One of the neat things is this sand table, this augmented reality, where you just build a table, you put sand in it, you put a projector on it. Actually, it's the connector, it's a 3D projector, and then it shows you the topographical, and you can move it around, and it shows you the rings of the height, and they built it for like 3rd or 4th graders, but then all the teachers wanted to come. It's turned into like this big phenomenon about it. And then they have a dome, they have a cardboard dome. They created these little fasteners. You cut it so that it lifts up, it butts up with the lip about an inch or so that sticks up, and they have these little fasteners that you can just clip on, and you can put a whole classroom in.
This is it. You've been part of a lot.
I was your first person that came in. She tried to hire me. I said, no, I'm not working. Especially after she told me that she was here because she could have gone to she wanted to be in the community and teach the people. She could have gone anywhere she wanted to, but she came and her dedication was here. So I made a dedication to her to be with her and to do whatever. She doesn't remember, but I remember.
No, seriously, I think like your School of Thought next encounter, 15 minutes.
Okay, all right.
Like if you could do that, I think
Sure.
that'd be great.
Okay, all right.
Thank you so much.
All
Okay,
right.
so we got
Sorry
a few
for
more
doing it.
people.
Bobby Bob.
Well,
Introduce yourself.
okay, well, I guess I'm view myself too. Yeah, I'm Bobby Buck, and what y'all talking about with the homeless, that's where I come from. I come from Skid Row. So, and I'm doing my part, and I want to create, with everybody being here, it's right on time. What I want to do is create an independent advertising and promotional network where we all promote and advertise each other's products and services and what we're doing, and then also we can pay each other a referral fee, like at least 10%, where we help each other come up. Because what the elites do, they create step on each other's toes to get somewhere. And really, with the right communication and the right efforts, people explaining each other's products and services, we can help each other make money instead of arguing and fighting and trying to get over each other. And then, so I want to create I call it out-the-box economics, where we can help each other. And then, like with I also want to do commercials and promotions. I got a talk show where I can promote everybody that's doing something positive in the community. So with all that coming together.
Welcome to take all the encounter talks to your show.
Okay, yeah.
When's your show and where?
Whenever we can set it up. Yeah.
Oh, that's part of the reason I invited Bobby here,
Yeah.
because what he's.
Because I'm ready to push it to the next level. Yeah.
And also just at the last encounter. Well, I'll wait my turn.
Yeah.
Now
He
Okay, but I'm saying one thing.
You guys are all such great
Okay, but the main thing I want to do is create a positive movement called action. And the acronym is Acquiring Causes to Intertwine Our Nation.
Wow.
So everybody who has a cause, I want to be the nucleus that brings it together.
Beautiful.
So that's
Love
bottom
it.
line.
Love it.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm so honored that you're here. Thank you.
So, I'm Andrew Williams Jr., and my typical opening is that I represent everyone here. And I've been doing that all my life, since I was 6 years old. I've always represented everyone. I'm an only child, so I make my family where I find them. But the reason I'm here, Kenneth actually brought me here to meet Marcella in 2010. So I've been here since that time. And it was 2012 when Sam came along, and we all became a part of the Global Business Incubation Team. I met them in 2000. This is the award in 2000 for the redevelopment work they did in downtown Los Angeles. It was Lynn Crandall that actually handed them the award. So she's very much integral part of all these things. The work that Candace has done, particularly the 5 Points Youth Foundation, has global implications. My theory and my cause is that I'm actually localizing what they talked about earlier, the sustainable development goals, which you may or may not know in 2000, with the 2,000 years after the birth of Christ, there is a new millennium. So that they created the millennial development goals to address the problems that we're all talking about right now. That shifted in 2015 to what they call the sustainable development goals, but it's still in the millennial. My own focus is on regenerative development goals. And so that we can self-empower all of ourselves from where we are and self-empower the people around us. This particular group here, you've seen me struggle to actually record and live stream stuff.
I know.
We have 1,200 other members online around the world, many of them that's tuned in today. I was starting to mention Candy. Just last week, last encounter session, she actually went to Long Beach with Alicia Hamilton with Universal Citizens Media Network. They focus on just that, creating citizen journalists. So I'm inviting all of you to become citizen journalists. I invited Bobby here because he needs a place to record content. So I'm asking, first of all, for this to be the place he does it every month, but for you to register through me or him or Candy or Alicia, wherever you happen to be, your location, so we can actually create a map and calendar so we can actually begin to record this stuff. I've only been here since 1980. I've come from Macon, Georgia, and so since that time, I've learned that this is the place that you have the most meetings and the less documentation. And we're the entertainment capital of the world. So the first task I'm asking each of you is to create your own public service announcement about what you do. 6 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, no more than a minute about your public service announcement. We need to have, with Bobby here, we can actually get that to a quality level. We can actually submit these to public access channels. Channel 35, the City of Los Angeles, is responsible for sharing all the things that we do. If they can't do it, we don't get it to them. So that's for Universal Citizens Media Network, where they had a 5 Points Youth Foundation president, where they have Global Business Incubation Zero Time Facilitator. I was just last year appointed to the Project 1619.org. And that's something I think that may be important to everyone here, because this is also the International Decade for People of African Descent. Most people may realize we're all people of African descent. So I'm believing it's our responsibility to pull towards, from 2018 to 2028, we got to get ready for the Olympics, right? So if we make our communities those centers where people are invited and have a place where we actually create cultural tourism for what we're doing, then we're doing the city a service, but we're also doing our neighborhoods a service. And so the things that we're doing here, I'm suggesting that we actually produce content that becomes a way to have a reality series of what we're actually doing as a first step. So there's a longer list, but maybe I'll have a chance to get it next time.
I was going to say, you also need us representation. Thank you, especially now that we're part of thank you so much.
Done myself already, but my name is Dylan. As most of you guys know. Why am I here? I joined the architecture program back in September because I have a just complete passion for arts in general, not just architecture, but I'm a musician.
A computer genius.
Yeah, I was blessed to have my first computer when I was like 7 years old in the 90s. So I've been using, I'm proficient with computers, and I And I fell into doing renderings and modeling and computer and you know, the technical know-how and artisticism came together, and I love it, and that's really why I'm here, and I want to network with people and, you know, find where our talents can come together and make the synergy like someone else was just talking about. So that's it.
Before we close, 2 comments?
Yes, 2 comments. One, Dan Kwan, he's not here right now, but he's, and I have to also say, it was before Pando, actually, it was some architects that did an interview with me at 5 Points Youth Foundation in the middle of 2016, and Wayne Fishback happened to be there. As a result of that, we've had maybe $100,000 worth of investment in 5 Points Youth Foundation so
that
far.
Came out of this.
That came out of this office. Dan Kwan is another person that approached me with perhaps supporting something I'm doing, and this was the idea, that he would actually help me to produce this. However, Len Kreml pointed out the fact that I don't have any editing team. I don't have any studio. So I've been that was 2 months ago. So now I brought the recording. I brought the access to the editing material.
Yeah, it's very savage.
Yeah, and so we have Nina Womack. She's not here either, but her expertise since 4 years old has been in video production. So actually, we are putting that together, a production team. So with your permission, I'll contact you for distribution to everyone here about what we're doing, and I'd like you to contact me, your calendar of events for the next 30 days, 6 weeks, year, 2 years, to be able for us to plan in advance what we're going to do. And we do have access through UCIT.tv to broadcast that, but it has to be professionally produced. So that's what I want to wind up with.
No, this is great. So everybody sign in?
One more data point.
Oh, yes, please.
Right now, during the month of March, something called My LA 2050 is running what they call an activation. They're soliciting ideas for all the kinds of things and projects and activities that we talk about here. 5 groups will each get a grant of up to $200,000. So they're giving away a total of $1 million to 5 organizations for 5 projects. And for until almost the end of March, they're taking, you can just submit whatever you care to submit to My LA 2050. And I think the website's LA2050.org. And I know that there's been some interrelationship between Encounter and LA 2050 before.
We should submit one at the Encounter.
What's that?
We should submit one at the Encounter. Yeah.
Right, and it's happening by the end of it's all over on the second or first, next to last day of March. So go to LA2050.org, look for what they're calling the activation, and it's, you know, anything that any boilerplate.
Let's do it. Let's do it together.
Yeah, let's do it. We can even maybe we should have a meeting here in a week
just for that.
Are these futuristic ideas for executing something that would be then implemented in that year, or how does it work with the 2050?
Over the following year.
The following year.
So they're not like dreams of the future proposals?
These are practical things you do.
Yeah.
It's every year. LA2050.org, so everybody.
Oh yeah, good question. Yeah, it's not like something you propose to do at 2050, which is still a ways off, but stuff that can be done over the next year. It's kind of got to hit the sweet spot between practicality and visionary creativity, so it's not something that everybody is proposing.
Wow.
And it's worth checking out.
No, this is fantastic.
So,
Okay.
social justice is one of the things you said, the reason for we're doing things here. Unfortunately, there was a horrific killing of our students just recently. On March 24th at Pershing Square, there will be a march about that. March 24th is also the anniversary of Trayvon Martin, who actually, his death kicked off the Black Lives Matter.
So what I want to ask, anybody that wants to become an editor of EncounterLA.net, can you text me and I want to make you an editor? Basically, you guys will be able to put anything on the website. I created EncounterLA.net, and you can become an editor. So just text me, and I think we can write all the events, all these things, so people can look at it. So I don't want it to become a bottleneck. I want to make everybody at the Encounter that wants to be an editor and wants to have a page can have a page. So let's do that. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'll see you in a month, at least.
You get a group picture? We'll get a group picture?
Oh, yeah.
A group picture?
Maybe.
Oh, group picture. This is our
And Bobby,
Yeah.
after the group picture, for those that want to, I'd like to get a headshot of them each. We would like to do a little bio about them if we have time.
Okay.
So Marcella, after the group picture.
Log on to BobbyBuck.com. BobbyBuck.com. Log on to BobbyBuck.com. 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 BobbyBuck.com.